aware are you of, I mean, it's going to sound kind of heady, but like how aware of like the idiom are you? Because I mean, I'm hearing like so many, I'm even hearing Buddy Holly with your little hiccups on like the second or third
Oh
song.
yeah.
It's just like, I'm hearing the best kind of American music, but it's regional. You know, it's from Texas up to Northern California on this stuff. Now, what who's writing the lyrics? Who's Are you writing the melodies? Like, is it just a little of both? Like, who wrote Quit in Time?
I wrote that one on my own, and I brought it to Andy, who really arranged the heck out of it and brought it up to where it is today. So
Have you guys done a lot of gigging? Have you done a lot of playing out?
we've done some. We were
Not
fortunate to
much.
do a couple of gigs prior to COVID lockdown, but then, you know,
It's been challenging because for the first couple of years, both the first and the second record, we really were a studio project, always with the intention to go out and play live.
Mm.
And so, as we were recording the second record, we went out and started playing some live gigs, but it was just the two of us. So we were taking these full production, multi-track, a lot of different guitar tracks, keyboards, et cetera, and pushing them all down to one acoustic guitar, one voice. And the songs took on a whole different life, and most of them worked, which was great. So it was an interesting process. And then, but we were trying to figure out, well, how is this going to transition to if we go out on tour? Do we tour just with the two of us, which is probably what would happen, at least initially, because taking a full band on the road is expensive
Right.
and filled with difficulties. So we have actually reached a little bit of a compromise at the moment because we're just about to start doing some live stream concerts.
Cool.
We've set up a live stream room here in our studio. We kind of moved the studio into the big bedroom and have had several friends of ours, one doing lighting,
Oh,
another
yeah.
guy who's a very experienced on stage mix guy, set all this live stream stuff up for us. So we're actually doing our first live stream a week from Monday night on Facebook,
Oh, cool.
6 o'clock, free show. And we're going to be playing we're going to be playing the new album. We're going to be playing to some backing tracks from the album. So it's kind of like, I thought, oh, it's going to be years before we're really on stage with a full band. And we're still not going to be on stage with a full band, but we're going to be playing to band tracks, to drums and bass and stuff. So it's a nice mix, sort of like a transition. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Let's hear a song.
Okay. Um,
Could I request one?
you
Or
can. Let's see if we rehearse.
or
She
do
might have to go find the lyrics.
I love that first song because it's just how you stretch out, like, how we got it all wrong. It's really, really nice.
oh my gosh, thank you so
Yeah, no,
much.
seriously, I dig it.
Okay, she'll go find the lyrics. I'll tune up, of course.
You still have the guitar you bought with your bar mitzvah money?
Oh man, I was faced with a conundrum at that point because it wasn't that much money. So it was either do I buy a good guitar and a lousy amp, or a good amp and a lousy guitar. I opted to buy the Fender Princeton Reverb, great amp, and I got this. I still remember this guitar. It was a Japanese guitar that I bought at a pawn shop with like red sunburst with a gold sparkle pickguard, and the strings were like this far off the neck, really hard to play.
You're supposed to. It's supposed to be like that.
Ex- it's, it's such a cliche, but yeah, that's it.
Can I tell you something? I bought a guitar that I'm still using, which is like a Gibson J12, which I bought with bonds that had matured 12 years after my bar mitzvah.
Oh, we all get the Israel bonds,
That's
right?
really
I don't know
cool.
if they were Israel bonds, but they were something along those lines, and I was I've been gigging out with this for 20 years.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway,
Notice
I
something.
mean, I wish I went through so many guitars when I was a teenager. I wish I still had all those.
where did you grow up?
We are both born and raised in San Francisco.
No kidding. Did you go to the Fillmore to see shows when you were a kid?
I absolutely did. I mean, I was too young to go to the Fillmore proper.
Right.
By the time I started going to shows, sneaking out when I was 13, it was Winterland and Fillmore West.
Right.
And I think that, you know, and I'm sort of with you, is like this term Americana. It's like, to me, we're just like this mishmash of country, folk, and rock kind of all slapped together based upon what we grew up with. And being in San Francisco, we would go to shows where, you know, I would go see 10 Years After and Woody Herman and the Thundering Herd, you know.
Gotta love Bill Graham for putting
Yeah,
those
I mean,
on the same bill.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember seeing James Cotton and you know, the Cream on the same show. So I
Okay.
just it just there were no boundaries then. So it all kind of mixed in. So as much as we love, you know, Patsy Cline and Johnny Cash and Emmylou Harris and influenced by them, it's all mixed in with the Smiths and the Cocteau Twins and the Pretenders, you know.
That is cool, and I think that's probably why your album resonates with me, because I'll have like I probably listened to Meet His Murder once or twice last week before listening to this stuff. But it's a good thing, and I'm actually kind of that really makes me feel good, the same way it does when you meet a 20-year-old who's listening to old music. That there are people that if you were sneaking out of the house to go see 10 Years After, typically people stay in that sort of that frame, and they don't listen to the Cocteau Twins
Right.
or
Yeah.
anything else. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, let me just unmute the reverb settings. There we are. You ready, honey?
Yeah. Do you not love me anymore? I miss our being close the way we were before. When I look into your eyes, I can sense your desire. His love is fragile as crystal, or steel it tall. Can it weather stormy times? Should I bother making plans when life can cut them all down? Is it already quitting time? Have I been reading your mind? I wanna know if there's a chance that I've got it all wrong. Promised to marry me, but you never did. You said we'd start a family and raise some kids, but did I spend my years wasting time? Well, you used me with your pretty lies. Am I imagining our long lost days, searching for your hand, but it's not there? I miss our evening strolls, we're not kissing anymore. Does that mean you'll be leaving soon? Is it already quitting time? Have I been reading your mind? Oh, I wanna know, is there a chance that I've got it all wrong? chance that I've got wrong. I wanna know if there's a chance that you still love me.
Oh my goodness, that was great.
Oh, thank you so
You
much.
sang that just for me.
I did.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Whose idea was the key change?
I think
That
that
was
was
you.
mine.
That's cool, man. I love it. Are you, do
You
you
know,
ever
you want
listen
to
to?
give it a lift.
Yeah, no, I love it. Have you listened to Jim Lauderdale at all?
Oh yeah.
He's one of my heroes. I love him, and he's really nice.
Oh,
That's good to hear.
I lived in Austin when I was right out of college in the early '90s, and I went to very proud to say that I met Buck Owens at his birthday party, and Jim Lauderdale. They walked in together, but there was a great band in Austin. They played, their whole shtick was very, buckaroos, and I'll remember their name in a second. The Derailers, that was who they were, and they were one of the early bands on the bill. No one was in this place yet. It was at the Continental Club, and while they're playing like a Buck Owens song, because each group got 2 or 3 songs to play, and they would play Buck songs, he walked to the center of, right the front of the stage. I've never seen a bunch of grown men blush before like that. They were so nervous. But oh man, that's really good. So how long have you guys been together? For how long have you been married?
A long time.
Was it always musical? Did you guys always hit it off in that way?
That's how we
the,
met.
we have a funny story that we've told a number of times, but
Let's have it.
I met Laura through a want ad, which I love to tell friends who inquire.
Was it
And
the penny
think, you know,
saver?
they think the wrong thing. It was a singer wanted ad.
Right.
And I've had a studio in my house for a long, long time, going back to, 8-track and 4-track even. And I was on a songwriting project with a friend of mine who was a lyricist. And we were looking for a singer, so I placed an ad, got 50 responses. By then I had played enough and had been in enough bands to know that I shouldn't bring all 50 people over to my studio. A complete waste of time. So I set up visits, I went to people's houses, they played their best stuff for me, I played what we were doing, and landed on 2 people who I invited over to the studio. And Laura was one of the 2, and she sang through one song once, and we hired her right there in the spot. We said, "Do you want to do this?" And that was that. So we started in on songwriting 2-3 times a week. The 3 of us would get together. There was a song written. We'd record the whole thing, right, all in one session, and then we'd hang out, have some drinks, make some dinner, and that lasted for about 6 months until something kind of turned for the 2 of us, and within another 3, in a very good way. And then it just sort of started from there. We played, we went and started a rock band, and made some records and did a little bit of touring, and on and on.
That's a wonderful story. So when you mentioned the Smiths and Cocktail Twins and everything, when you were a kid, being the first thing that comes to mind with San Francisco is the Grateful Dead. Did you listen to them at all? Were you into them?
I have to say, no disrespect to the San Francisco bands, but when I first started playing, when I was 12, 13 years old, it was all about the English guys. Beck, Page, Clapton, Peter Green, Hendrix, which led me to Albert King.
Sure.
And it was also, the LA bands started getting in there.
Yeah.
Poco, the Birds, the Buffalo Springfield, and when we got on to this whole 3 Pairs of Boots project, 4 some odd years ago, I started to realize how big of an influence Stephen Stills was to me as well. So I've got equal parts Stephen Stills, Jimmy Page, Peter Green. They're all kind of mixed up in there. I
Are you
didn't
talking
really,
like Manassas, Stephen Stills,
um,
or just Stephen
more
Stills?
Buffalo Springfield CSN.
Right.
I think was really where I went with Stephen Stills. I kind of lost my way with him around the time of Manassas and went on to other things. But it's interesting how that, which I listened to very early on in my life, sort of came back and like, oh my God, like I love this stuff and it's here still in me and it has this major influence on me and into this project that we've really discovered is probably it's the best thing we've ever done. The Three Pairs of Boots. We've done a lot of different things.
It's
You know,
been the
we've had
most gratifying.
yes, definitely the most
I
gratifying.
feel that, and you should be really proud of it. I mean, I'm telling you, I never I like to be a fan of everything I hear, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of that you could hear from when all of your friends are musicians or they're sending stuff, but it's always such a great relief when you hear something that not only do you like. I'm not thinking in terms of oh, now I could interview these people. No, but I love this record, and that's a good thing. I wish I was the head of a huge record company, and when the COVID was over, I could put you guys on a world tour with tour support. But
Aw.
it's funny though. You mentioned San Francisco and liking all of those British bands. I was talking to someone recently, and we were talking about the Flaming Groovies, and
Uh-huh.
and I was saying those guys didn't sound like they were anywhere near from the Bay Area. They didn't sound like they were from there,
No.
and that's something so amazing because it emerged during that time, which I'm not. I remember when I started liking punk rock and stuff. I think it was the first San Francisco band that I really liked. And I had grown up, as I said, my dad had played the New Riders, and my brother was a big Deadhead. But it wasn't until like I think I heard American Music Club with Mark Eitzel, who was
Oh
like
my God.
in San Francisco. I was like, it's not just hippies, you know. And then I progressively, I came to Michael Bloomfield's music later in life, and I'm actually living like probably a half a mile from where he grew up. Um,
He was one of my
and
big influences.
yeah, and when he went out to San Francisco, he thought all those bands sucked. I mean, he even called Country Joe and the Fish an abomination, which I think is the
Uh,
funniest thing I've ever heard. And but he loved, I mean, I think they all loved him and they probably learned a lot. And then it was sort of reinforced by Carlos Santana, who's really had a great band. He said, yeah, there was something very cutesy about the hippie Haight Ashbury scene. No one really, it was like folkies that had just plugged in their guitars, and they really didn't have the rock and roll and the blues thing. I think they eventually had it. But yeah, that makes
most of I think a lot of the San Francisco bands didn't really wear the test of time that well. And maybe that's why I wasn't attracted to him initially. Mike Bloomfield was another one. I was a big Paul Butterfield fan.
sure.
The Flaming, it's interesting you mentioned the Flaming Groovies and Mark Eitzel. Uh, they were both clients of mine.
Oh,
In
really?
I had a lot of clients in the arts. I mean,
What about
filmmakers.
Bruce Caffin, the great steel guitar player?
No,
Maybe
unfortunately,
not. Okay, he was in that band
I
as well.
Too
Eitzel
bad.
was a longtime client of mine, and Voody,
Lovely
who played in
guy.
his
Rudy.
band, and Voody was a client. Really
Rudy
great
was
guy.
born in the town that I'm talking to you from. He's from Highland. I think he was born in Highland Park, Illinois.
Oh my
Great
gosh.
guy. Voody and I got along famously.
He was funny. He said, I remember asking him questions about, you're from San Francisco. I was mentioning Quicksilver Messenger Service and all these groups. He was like, no, man, those guys are hippies.
That's
Oh, that's hilarious.
yeah.
Wow.
And the Flaming Groovies, who, by the way, I don't know if you know this, they're like having a revival. Like they've been touring the last 3 years.
Yeah, with I think they have Clem Burke in the band from
What?
Blondie.
Oh my
That
gosh.
would be
He's a fantastic.
awesome.
That was the last time I heard, like I heard that he was playing with them. It might be 10 years ago, but
Uh,
that's how cool they are.
Hmm.
So how have you guys been? It sounds like you've made good use of this shutdown quarantining time, making great music. Um, has it been, other than not being able to play out creatively, it must be pretty fertile. I mean, I'm inspired that you guys are having this kind of this renaissance with this one record after being together for so long, and you
Well,
still love each other.
thanks.
Yeah, well, it's definitely it's challenging at times to work with your spouse, of course, but the good so much outweighs the downside. I think that we made two records. The first one, which was out in the summer of last year, 2019, and then this one were pre-COVID. So while we were, this record's Long Rider was finished in January and was supposed to release in summer 2020, and obviously got put on hold. For a variety of reasons. Probably the main one was just that this was a very positive record, we felt, and it just didn't seem like it was the right time to put it out. It just wasn't.
And
The world wasn't in that space to
releasing an
accept it.
album is a lot about celebrating too, and it just wasn't the right
Yes.
time. for
So
that.
we spent 2020 basically. We were sitting on the record. We were kind of getting our ducks lined up with management and all the people who were going to help promote the record, the team, so to speak. In the meantime, we've been spending we spent most of 2020 writing and recording for the next record. We're pretty much halfway through the third album, which we're planning on releasing in January 2022. We kind of have a goal for releasing a record every year for the next couple of years.
Do you find that writing constantly, whether the songs turn out the way you want them to, or one's just kind of written by the seat of your pants in like a minute and it kind of comes together, do you think that keeps the writer's block away? When you're
Yes. It's an interesting process. I mean, everybody has, I guess, their own way of doing it, and there are those times, somewhat consistently, where it's like, oh, where's the next song coming from? I don't know. I'm empty, and then just something like out of left field, you just read something, and it's like, oh, there it is. Like I got to write something about that, or whatever. Or somebody can give you a phrase, like my sister-in-law, who is a longtime blues DJ on a public radio station up in Northern California, was here, I don't know, a year or two ago, and she's such a card and is so witty, and she just sort of spun off this line. I'm like, oh my God, that's a chorus, like that's a hook right there. And so I wrote a song, and it's probably going to make the next record.
Awesome.
And of course, she's going to get a writing credit. It's like, hey, you're going to have to join BMI,
That's very generous of you, actually, to give her a writing credit. I mean,
Well, it is the hook.
I'm half joking.
Yeah, I mean, people will steal stuff all the time, but it was well deserving, and
Good.
I want to continue to foster that relationship because she's such a great person, and once we get to see her again, because she has been up in Northern California,
Right.
hunkering down, but I'm sure I'm going to grab a few more lines from her somewhere in the future. So you just never know.
Now, there's one of the greatest guitar. No, were you going to say something, Laura? I'm sorry. I think I.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm just,
What about do you know who? I'm sure you know. He might have even been one of your clients, Rick Estrin
No.
from Little Charlie and the Nightcats. A lot of.
I know of the band, yes.
Yeah,
but I don't know them.
So what's
write this down.
what's that? Yeah,
I have to write all these.
We're
tips
friends.
down these.
We're now lifelong friends. So I'll text you and all this kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Cool.
What what I find fascinating, because when you're not when you're coming to the music purely out of love, and you have the means of recording, which like 30, 40 years ago, home studios were not very robust. You probably had to spend a lot of money, booking studio time, and in this situation you have it there. But also the world of audio visual has become so democratized because of the internet, and that leaves you to do a lot of your marketing. Are you taking to that responsibility, and how's that going?
I'd say to a certain extent, yes. I mean, we manage all our social media. I'm kind of the social media person here. So, I'm constantly scheduling all our postings and sort of strategically spacing out when we post what. But we have a lot of guidance with our manager, Erin Anderson from Olivia Management out of Nashville. And she put together the whole team for the promotion for this record. We have a publicist working for us, a digital marketing firm.
Good.
Radio and video promotion are coming up because we did a couple of videos. There's a video for Quitting Time that we shot in Nashville a year ago in the bitter cold of January. That's just about to come out. So if I'll ask Wendy for your contact info, and I'll send you a sneak peek if you want to see it.
I would love it. You know, I'd love to have you guys back on where we just talk about your next projects. But it's so refreshing to become a fan. It's in such a short period of time, and it's a good thing because this year has been so unpredictable and so soul crushing on so many different levels. But there's still music. You know,
it's really been a savior for us because, of course, like most everybody, we're kind of locked down. And in late in 2019, after many years of working that other job, I sold off my practice. And you know, I hate the word retired. I wasn't retired. I was like just going to do this full time, which I've been doing, and it was good timing because this has really required a lot more time as this next album came into shape. So it's been, you know, a lot of really positive things despite all the challenges and the downside of it all. This record, and I think for us, we got better as we went along. So I think the second record, this one is better than the first one. Sonically, we love melody. We love that sort of multi-layered, lush kind of sound.
You ever heard of the Beatles?
Yeah, really I think this guy Paul kind of helps me with my bass playing.
Do you double track vocals and things like that?
Oh yeah.
All the vocals on the record are all her.
Oh, it's marvelous. It's really good.
Thank you.
Well,
so
you know,
much.
look, I have no doubt that you were a great accountant, but I don't think that anybody's going to say that the hairs on the back of their neck were done because you got them a great tax break. Although you might have, but it's the music that I think, and hopefully a lot more that you're going to be remembered for. Give us let's close this out with another tune. No requests.
You want to take a step?
Okay.
right.
Let's see.
This thing in tune.
All right.
The mics sound great, by the way. Like what?
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's
Great.
really a nice warm sound. And what kind of mics are those? Since we're talking gear.
That is the mic that we use for all recording of vocals. It's a Pelletron, I think. Very high end. That was like a 3 months paycheck microphone. But got it years ago, and
It's a
worth
workhorse.
every penny.
It's a real workhorse.
And the rest are just a couple of Shure mics.
It's funny until I think only musicians could appreciate that part in Blues Brothers when he traded his car in Cadillac in for a microphone. You know,
Right?
it's worth it. What are you plugged in through? Like, are you plugged in through like a nice mixer, or because it sounds really nice.
We're very fortunate that we have, an inside circle of friends who are extremely talented. The album was mixed by two good friends of ours who are both really great mix engineers, and now I have a third. We have a third mix guy in tow who's a live sound engineer, tours all the time with Enrique Iglesias and Gwen Stefani. He set up this whole live stream setup for us, and that's why it sounds so good.
Yeah.
It's not because we put it together, it's because I have a really good friend who's really good at this stuff.
Well, he should actually get some of your tunes over to both artists and maybe have some of them record.
That would be awesome. Yeah, hey Gwen, come on over and have a duet with Laura. And can you bring that guy Blake Sheldon over as well? We could have a guitar duet.
Yes, and with the Enrique stuff, you'll have, nice rhythm section. All right, what are you gonna play?
This one is called Take a Step.
All right, 3 boots on the floor.
I've been waiting for this day. Now I can leave it all behind. Take a step into the unknown. Never look back, never look back. Where I go from here, I don't know, but ain't it a wonderful thing? Not knowing what tomorrow will bring. Got my 3 pairs of boots, that's all I need. I'm taking a step into the unknown and never looking back. I've got my 3 pairs of boots, that's all I need. Fell into a job that I knew I should have quit. What started out as part-time became 9 to 5 on the line. Good money kept me there, but it became my cross to bear. 'Cause that job was not me, I was trapped, not free. I'm taking a step into the unknown and never looking back. I've got my 3 pairs of boots, that's all I need. I had set aside my passion, I had delayed my fate. I made the wrong decision, I hope it's not too late. My term is up, my time was served. I'm moving on to chase my dream. Now I've been patient for many a year. Now the days vary, it seems. I'm taking a step to the unknown and never looking back. I got my 3 pairs of boots, that's all I need. 1 pair for drinking, 1 pair for dancing, 1 pair for ripping hands. I've got my 3 pairs of boots, that's all I need. I got my 3 pairs of boots, that's all I need.
Hooray.
Thank
That
you.
was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Well, guys, you've been hang on for a second, but let's bring this to a close. That was great. Will you come back on the show?
Oh, it'd be our
Absolutely,
pleasure.
love it.
I really love this a lot, and we'll maybe I'll host a birthday concert for me, and you guys could do.
Oh, we'd love
Yeah.
to.
Well, so what could we expect? I think you just said it a few minutes ago, but you got new product coming out in the next year or this year?
The next record is going to be January 2022.
Good.
And let me see, what do I need to mute here to get all this reverb off? Hold on a second. Oh, there it is.
Is there a website that people could go to?
We do have a website, 3pairsofboots.com with the numeral 3. I think for the rest of the year, we're going to finish recording. We're going to write some more songs. We got about half the record finished. Going to write some more songs, finish the recording of the album. In the meantime, we're going to do a string of live stream concerts some free. We're going to try some ticketed shows. And maybe Wendy didn't tell you about this, but we have this other project. Well, it's related to Three Pairs of Boots. But our management, when we first started working with her, she recommended that we do some guerrilla marketing. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? And so she explained what her other artists do. And it's basically, sort of underground, something that attracts attention that's basically doesn't cost very much money. And so we did a certain thing for the first record. And now for this one, we, of course, without having any experience at all, jumped right into making our own cooking show. It's called Cookin' and Country. Wow. And we do like a 10-minute shtick where I'll come on in the kitchen, I'll play about 45 seconds of a song, I'll go into a cooking thing, and then at the end, Laura will join me and we'll play through a song, and that's that. We did 5 episodes. 2 of them are up on YouTube now.
Awesome.
And we discovered at the end of each episode all the things that we did wrong, and we would fix them. And the next time we would do another show, we'd get to the end of that show and discover all the new things that we did wrong. But I think it's quirky and fun and totally amateurish, and that's kind of what it was supposed to be anyway.
It's a punk rock cooking show.
I love that.
And the mix of
DIY.
food and music together,
That's
So
awesome.
we may do some more of those. New album, playing shows, whether it's here or hopefully outside in front of people.
Yeah.
I'd
love to see you guys live. I'd love to have you come out to Chicago or do something.
Is that where you are exactly?
I'm in Chicago, yeah.
We'd love to go.
I used to live in Los
Chicago.
Angeles, but I moved back here when my daughter was born in 2011. So I didn't want to live in LA anymore. It was too.
She's young.
I got a 9-year-old, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not married anymore. So there's really, I'll have to put an ad out for a singer.
Singer wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, good idea. We have a 17-year-old son who started playing guitar a couple of years ago, and initially it was grunge and punk, it was Black Flag, it was Nirvana, and I was helping him along the way, but he really he worked very hard at it himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple months ago he came up and said, "Hey, Dad, can you show me this Buck Owens song?" I'm like, "What?" And then we hear him like playing "Sweethearts of the Rodeo."
Oh God! Buy him a bee-bender for his 18th birthday.
Oh my God! You're a mind reader.
He came up like 3 months
For
ago and
his
said,
17th
"Hey,
birthday.
Dad, you ever played a bee-bender?" I'm like, "What's that?"
That's so cool.
Oh,
We bought him one for his
it is.
for
It
his
really
birthday,
is.
and for
Sounds so good.
He was born in December, so we bought him like a joint birthday.
December what?
18th.
So he's a Sag like me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good
So
thing.
for his birthday, he was playing kind of a cheaper guitar for his birthday, for the holidays, and the fact that he was doing really well in school. We found a bee-bender for him, and that's what he's got.
Oh, magnificent! They're really heavy.
Really heavy.
Did you get to see the Birds when they were touring with Marty Stewart? If the Sweethearts,
No.
it's amazing.
That would have been.
It's on YouTube. It's fantastic, and Marty Stewart, I think, is one of the biggest mensches in the world. I
Yeah.
love hearing him talk. I love hearing him talk about Clarence White and his connection to the music. It's fantastic. And you should tell, what's your son's name?
Cassius.
Cassius. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Marty Stewart, it was like 6-7 years ago. We were
I
out
love
at
him so much.
Hardly Strictly
Yeah.
because we live close to Golden Gate Park, and
Oh, yeah, that's
we wanted to go see somebody at one of the stages, and it was all way too crowded. So we sort of headed down to the far stage, and here comes Marty Stewart and the Fabulous Superlatives. I had never heard of him, not a clue. He comes out, 2 Telecasters, 2 twin reverbs, and the rhythm section. They got these cool suits on, black suits
yeah.
with like turquoise swirl, and they blew my mind.
Yeah, Kenny Vaughn is his other guitar player. Kenny Vaughn.
He's great.
Unbelievable. And he's cool. I mean, he's from Denver. He's fantastic. It's weird. I have such a weird mind where I compartmentalize stuff where I won't be talking about music for like weeks. I talked to a Holocaust historian recently, and that's like, I was just getting really into that.
Wow.
But any excuse to talk about really good country music. I'm a Roger Miller fanatic. That guy is my hero. But you should get Cassius to listen to Billy Zoom from X, because that's like, that guy's the coolest.
Great suggestion.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't
You
think
might
he's
have to
on
send your
X
son
yet.
out to me.
Yeah. I know.
Well, it'll be like summer stock, you know. And if I was out there, I would play bass for you guys. But
Oh, we'd
so
love
anyway,
it.
this was so much fun. I'm so glad you guys came on, and good luck to you. Hang on for 1 second, okay?
Okay.